Hey everybody, Ghost You Can't See here. Welcome to the channel. So if you're in the loop on the whole UFO thing, you probably know that right now the Age of Disclosure documentary, the one that premiered at South by Southwest like a million years ago, is finally on Amazon Prime. Also, you probably are aware that they're charging $20 for it. So there's no way I'm renting that. However, I don't think I'm missing much because from what I can tell, it's basically just 34 or 36 interviews with insiders that have heard about things, you know, the same crap that we've been seeing on TV for months. The same clip of Tim Burchett saying, "Brother, I tell you what, in Eastern Tennessee," or that Marco Rubio said, "Everybody's either crazy or it's real." Okay, so whatever. Age of Disclosure is out. I'm actually interested in real disclosure. And who's in charge of that? Donald Trump. And this is not a politics video. I don't really give a shit about the politics here. What I'm going to be talking about today is the actual likelihood and ability for Donald Trump to disclose. What are the roadblocks? What are his motivations? Obviously, from the UFO side, people say that disclosure would make him a seminal president. Does he really care about that? Well, yeah, he cares about that, but does he believe that UFO disclosure would make him a seminal president? I don't know. I feel like Clinton could have done it, Bush could have done it, or Dick Cheney. Clearly, they don't want to be known as the UFO disclosure presidents. So let's dial it back a little bit. Which presidents actually have known about UFOs? Let's start with Abe Lincoln. Just kidding. Let's start with Eisenhower, who probably actually did know quite a bit about UFOs. If we dive back really deep into the lore, there's the stories of him going and actually having meetings with some sort of alien species. Okay. He warned in his farewell address about the military-industrial complex taking over. And in the subsequent decades, we have seen very clearly that the military-industrial complex has taken over pretty much everything. Everybody in Congress is in the pocket of somebody in defense, basically, especially if they're on committees or chair people or things like that. So he was right about that. I think that that idea spreads to UFOs. Everything that we know about UFOs comes from people, whistleblowers, or witnesses, and they're all siloed into specific areas, whether that's technology or intel. Everything's siloed, which means that it's very likely that nobody right now has the full picture on UFOs. Might be the last person that was totally read in presidentially was George H.W. Bush, who was CIA director, clearly had quite a bit of knowledge on the subject, was very coy with reporters and the public about the idea of UFOs. And then after him, it seems like everything sort of went into private aerospace and defense contractors. And that's where we really start to get the idea of the Department of Energy working with Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and these other companies to reverse engineer the technology. So maybe H.W. Bush was the last person to have the full picture. We know for a fact that other presidents like Jimmy Carter didn't have the full picture. And we can probably assume the same for Obama and definitely Biden and probably Trump. But if Trump wanted to disclose, would he be able to? I think yes. Now, when we go back and look at his previous statements on the topic, we see that he clearly has some knowledge. And everybody says, well, it's Donald Trump, so if he knew, he would definitely say, I don't know if that's true. Let's give him a little bit of credit here. Probably the closest we got was when he was on Joe Rogan and said, well, maybe they're on Mars. And then Joe Rogan interrupted him and said, they're not. I wonder what he would have said there. But let's say he decides to disclose UFOs. I don't think that it would be anything groundbreaking for people that are already in the subject and really know the lore on UFOs. For all the idiots that are out there that have always just been dogmatic in ignoring the subject of UFOs, not just skeptics, but the people that have denied it forever, their whole worlds would probably change. But for the rest of us, we might be clamoring for more information. It would be a relief to hear anybody, even Donald Trump, if you don't like him, say that UFOs exist, or aliens, or UAPs, or whatever it is. But the real stuff that we want to know, are they from Earth? Are they from outside the solar system? Have they been here longer than us? Are there multiple species? Are they in bases under the water? Kind of the crazy stuff. Is the moon hollow? Who knows? I don't think we'd learn any of that stuff. Maybe Trump knows it. More than likely, though, this is something that no one person has the answer to. I have a feeling that this is siloed through the Department of Energy, the Department of Defense, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Northrop, and a couple others. And each of them have some disparate element of it. Maybe they have a piece of metamaterial. Maybe they have an entire craft. It doesn't mean that they know exactly what's going on. They might know where it was recovered from. But for those of us hoping that the age of disclosure on Amazon Prime was going to be the answer to all of this, it's not going to be. Credit where credit's due. I guess it's good that this is out. Finally, places like Fox News and MSN are talking about it, but it's not going to really change anything. And it's really disappointing because a lot of the YouTubers these days do these videos every day about how disclosure is literally happening right now and all this crap. It's not true. If we get anything, it's going to be a very, very small piece of the puzzle. And it might even be some sort of psyop. We never know. I will say, though, if disclosure happens, my personal take is going to be take whatever they give us and do all the research on it independently. See what's real, what actually makes sense given the history that we already know about UFOs, UAPs, and aliens, and then only trust whistleblowers if they're not writing a book, and never trust anybody that's currently working in the government. That extends, unfortunately, to people that I kind of like David Grush. Take everything that they say with a grain of salt, and we'll see where it goes from there. Just wanted to give this quick update, and have a good one.